Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Sam, and beyond today, I'm joined by Connor.
Hey.
And Mike.
Hello.
And today I think we want to talk about playtimes. So, ideal playtime length, our longest we've ever played a game, just playtimes in general, which I think are an interesting topic, because I think when I was younger, I definitely thought that a game was, I don't want to say better, but more valuable if it was really long. And as I've gotten older, I definitely don't think that anymore. And I definitely think it's a combination of, just having more money as you get older, but also just valuing your time a little more.
Yeah, when I had more time than money, I wanted longer games. And I am not in that position anymore. Can I tell you why, though? I have a very funny story that is why I thought of this topic.
Sure.
My most played game of all, maybe ever, but definitely on PC, is Untitled Goose Game with 675 hours and 42 minutes.
Okay, but that doesn't really count, right? You were you left it on or something.
No, I let my stepmother have access to my Epic Games account because she wanted to play it. And
so your
she left it on for over a month and couldn't figure out why her computer was so slow.
Your stepmother definitely didn't play Untitled Goose Game for 600 plus hours.
The other reason I thought it would be interesting is that in my top 10 most played games is Assassin's Creed 3, and I think that's just not a very good game, and I hate that it's in my top 10.
You know what? It's funny when you suggested this topic, the first thing I thought of was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was younger, right? When Assassin's Creed was all the rage, when, the second one had just come out and, we're getting Brotherhood and et cetera, et cetera. I was like, yeah, these games are amazing because they're both single player and really long, which I guess was kind of, new to me if it wasn't an RPG.
Yeah.
And then they sort of just became RPGs.
Oh, what's weird is I only remember, the parts of Assassin's Creed 3 I remember fit into, the kind of game I would like now, which is, 10 hours long. I have 116 hours in that game. And
So were you potentially, you were multiplayer, right? Were you
I played a little multiplayer, but I did not. It was never my go-to multiplayer game.
That's, yeah.
I have no idea what I did for over 100 hours in Assassin's Creed 3.
I think with 3 and especially 4 is when they started becoming really long.
Yeah,
but I can't remember if there was 100 hours of long in 3.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Doesn't sound quite right.
I might have played it more than once. I don't know. That was a time when I didn't have very many games
as a kid.
Yeah,
I remember for me at least, the Assassin's Creed I went crazy over was Brotherhood.
Yeah, I had that on PS3, so I don't know how long I played it. Probably a long time.
I definitely. So it sucks because for these older console games, I really don't have those metrics.
Oh yeah, I was looking before to see if I could see how long I played GameCube because Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is definitely up there on playtime. So is Phantasy Star Online, which I didn't play online. I played it single player.
I mean, for Sonic Adventure 2, hands down, Chow Garden was at least half, if not more of that for me. But, yeah, I don't know. Assassin's Creed, yeah. So especially thinking about Brotherhood, not only did I replay it multiple times, I fiended that multiplayer.
Yeah.
I remember
it was fun
playing the multiplayer game with my friends, and particularly my friend Mason Tate, who I don't talk to anymore. I should reach out to him. But, we used to play Assassin's Creed Brother multiplayer literally every day, and we just never got tired of it. And to its credit, it was a pretty novel multiplayer at the time, and it kind of disappointed me when Assassin's Creed kind of went away from that model in the later entries, because I think there was something cool there.
Yeah, there was, because that was a game we played. I don't know if you guys have this experience, but we had a game, and it was something we kind of had to keep under wraps in my high school called Assassin, where you would have a target. And you had to stick them with a sticky note with your name on it, I think, or something like that.
I know we did with spoons, so this definitely wasn't a logo thing.
Yeah, we might have done spoons too one year because it was organized. Somebody would put it together; it would be a big deal. We'd only do it once a year, but you would get a target, and you had to get your target before whoever had you got you. We did it at my summer camp I worked at. It was a game staff would play with Nerf guns. And it was a whole thing. It was a very tense week. It was super fun. And the Assassin's Creed multiplayer...
this was while you were in staff, not as a student?
Yeah, this was when I was a staff at camp because,
okay.
I don't know, we didn't let campers get involved in stuff like that. But the campers
Right.
loved it. They knew about it, and they thought it was like the coolest thing. But we did not
Man,
get
I
them
was just
involved.
about to go on a tangent that I'm not sure I want to go on.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, like you mentioned, like that game of Assassin. In my head, I was like, that sounds very G-rated compared to the stuff we did in high school. Because, man, I don't even know if I want to repeat this, but I guess I've started, so I can't stop.
Yeah.
But at band camp, we used to play a game called Credit Card,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and you can imagine what that is.
No,
I
we
don't think I
had
have to-
stuff like that too, but I wasn't gonna tell that on the podcast. I was gonna keep it to the wholesome game that was really fun that I played.
Yeah. Things got pretty weird at band camp.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
mean,
a
yeah,
fan.
that's band camp for you.
Although, like when one of the
honestly.
students, when one of my classmates did that to one of the teachers, that shut down
Absolute-
the whole operation. I was like, dude, what were you thinking? You obviously can't do that.
No, I mean, our
Oh.
assassin game also got shut down because they started trying to stick the post-it notes to our principal. That it turned into
Yeah.
that eventually, and yeah.
There's always a line, right? Like, and we all, like, even if we don't talk about it, like as kids, we know what the line is,
Yeah.
and like we all have the sort of agreement not to go over the line. And then when someone does, it kind of just ruins the fun for everyone.
Yeah, but when you're a teenager, somebody's gonna do it eventually.
Somebody's gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about game amount of time we've played games, and I'm just
gameplay
looking at
time.
my most played games, and like I'm just gonna list a few of my top played games that
We're
I
going
don't.
Steam? Are you looking at?
I use GOG Galaxy, so it tracks Epic Games, Steam, Xbox, basically everything
Okay.
I've played on PC. I don't think Noita's on here, which it would be pretty high up. But some that make sense, like Terraria, love that game. I've played it 1,000 times. Minecraft is up here. It only
yeah,
counts
I bet-
the Bedrock edition. If you include Java, that's probably my most played game ever. I probably have over 1,000 hours.
I definitely have hundreds of hours in Minecraft, at least.
Couple hundred hours in Rocket League. Almost 300. I have almost 200 in Factorio. Those all make sense. Almost 200 in Kerbal Space Program. But one that really doesn't make sense is because I don't like this game that much is 180 hours in Apex Legends. And that's one that like I play it because my
So-
friends like it. So that
Yeah,
it's
with
not that weird.
multiplayer games and like battle royale games like that, I can see how like the hours can kind of accumulate without you even realizing.
Yeah.
Because you play a match here and there, but you've done it like a few hundred times, and before you know it, you just have like
Yeah.
a certain amount of time in the game.
So-
Like I still probably, I bet I have like a few hundred hours in Fortnite, just because like when it first came out, that's all like me and my friends were
believe it or
playing.
not, I play that game a lot. I only have 113 hours in it.
In what, Fortnite?
Fortnite. I have almost as many hours in Halo Infinite, which is wild to me because I've gone through like 2 rounds of playing a lot of Fortnite. Although the other one might have been on Switch. I can't remember.
So I think we're kind of on a multiplayer games discussion here. So
My most played game is Dota 2, and I haven't played that
Yeah.
game in almost 2 years.
yeah.
I mean that is not surprising to me. MOBAs will eat your life.
I
if
think
you let them, you know?
League is
So,
up there too, but I don't have a way to check it.
Shout out to my cousin, who I think I've said this on the podcast before, probably without his consent, but he has put over 1 actual year of his life into League.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you've definitely told me that before. Okay, I have 170 hours in Noita too. I was just checking that, so that's definitely top 10.
But yeah, as far as multiplayer goes, like the game that must not be named here, Maple Story. Like
I didn't
think. I don't even want to think how many hours I have into that.
I don't know. This might only be counting the Steam version, but GOG says I only have
I think
44
so.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that can't be right.
Yeah. That can't be
no
right.
the
Maple
nature-
Story, I
that can't
lived
be
and
right.
breathed that game
Yeah.
for years.
So
Mobby Nogi, I probably have over 1,000.
Yeah, I mean,
in.
like-
yeah.
like late middle school, early high school. I think middle school and high school both. Like it was a pretty constant presence in my life. So like I can only imagine. It has to clear 1,000 hours.
Yeah, easy.
Easy, yeah. But like aside from Maple Story, in terms of multiplayer games I've played the most, Halo 3 has to be up there. Call of Duty Modern Warfare has to be up there. The original COD 4. Because like those were my first real forays into I guess FPSs and multiplayer in general on the console space.
Yeah.
And it was just that really golden time where everyone would just get on Xbox Live after school and play those two games over and over again.
I just want to say that was a painful experience to miss out on when you like knew everybody else was doing that, and I didn't have an Xbox or a PS3.
Yeah, that I mean, like I still go back thinking about that time. That was the most fun I've had playing video games.
Yeah, I essentially never had that. Yeah,
yeah, it was really special, especially because like Halo 3, its Forge mode was so excellent, so you could like create some really good custom maps. And we actually had enough people in our like Xbox Live group to where we didn't really even have to matchmake. We could all just jump into a massive custom game and play each other, and it was loads of fun.
That's insane. Yeah, that sounds really nice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like as you get older, you don't have any friends, so I can't do that today.
Yeah,
but I would like to.
You get pickier. I can
find like
older.
20 other people. Yeah, but so Halo 3 definitely very formative. A lot of hours into that. And I think the most recent example for me for a multiplayer game that I just like sank into has to be Destiny, right? Even though it's like, oh man, it's like, how old is it now? Destiny is almost like...
We're talking Destiny 1 or 2?
Just Destiny overall, but Destiny 1 more so for me. So like that came in 2014?
Yeah.
20... Yeah, that sounds kind of right.
14 sounds right. 15 at the latest, because it definitely came out while I was in high school.
Man, that's crazy that it's been out that long. But yeah, Destiny, I have over, like the first one, not the second one, but I had over 1,000 hours in Destiny, which was insane to me because I mostly played it while I was in college. So it must have been like one of the only real games I played. And it definitely is the last sort of example where like I managed to convince like all my college friends at the time to play this game, and we were all in a clan together, and it was just that sort of like quintessential MMO experience, but inside of Destiny. I did have that, and I'm very grateful for that. Like we went on raids together, we did all sorts of like multiplayer stuff together. Like it was a blast, but that no longer exists, and I kind of wonder. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to have that again. Just as I get older, right? People, including myself, don't have as much time to, like, do these MMO tier kind of activities. And, I don't know. I think if I never do it again, I do think I'll be a bit sad because, like, there is something truly special about having, like, a big community of your friends to just, like, really dive deep into a game. So...
yeah,
I look forward to the next Destiny.
Yeah, I'm optimistic that like,
yeah,
we'll, our generation, at least the ones that can afford to ever retire, will have. I think we'll get that back, maybe in a time when we have a free time again.
Right.
You know,
and I don't know. Like, I don't want to put it like that, right? Like, I'm sure if I wanted to, like, I could make time for another MMO, but then it would be literally my only form of entertainment, right? Like, and I don't want it to be that. Because, like, obviously I still know friends that are into various MMOs, but they don't really play anything else, right? Like, that is their video game entertainment. And I can't provide that level of commitment to any one game. Like, there's way too many games I enjoy to commit like that.
Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
I'm sad that you don't have, like, your hour counts in front of you. I don't know if there's any way to get those from PlayStation.
Yeah, so... I can look on PlayStation, but like from my estimation, they're not the most accurate.
Okay.
And also, like, so I can look at my hour counts on Steam, but I can already tell you what my top 2 most played games are.
Yeah.
And you could probably tell me too. So, Civilization 5 and 6.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Each well over 500 hours.
Civ 5, I have 27 hours in, and I don't remember a single second of it.
That's crazy. That's got to be like maybe 1 to 2 games.
It was 2 games, I think. Yeah. Nah, I'm not a big strategy game guy. You actually like. So I'm looking at rows. The rows are like 15 games wide. I'm under 100 hours. I only have like 12 games that I have over 100 hours in. Like,
yeah, so like it's tough for me with Steam because I haven't really played too much on Steam compared to like Nintendo and PlayStation.
Yeah.
But like the games I have played, like I really, well, not all of them, but especially Civilization. Like I played both of those games to death. And I'm certainly going to do the same with Civilization 7 when it comes out, whether I want to or not, because I don't think I can help myself with those games.
Yeah.
Like, Civilization 5 introduced me to a whole new, like, world of gaming, essentially. And it's pretty rare for that to happen as I play more and more games, so... It was an unforgettable 500 hours.
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, like, we were talking about Are there any other multiplayer games you guys want to highlight that you guys?
Warframe sits up there.
Oh, I'm
Warframe
sure.
Elite, like my top 6 are all multiplayer games. 7,
Yeah.
8, 9.
And I imagine, like,
10.
obviously multiplayer games
All of them are multiplayer.
On average, I feel like people put more time into multiplayer than single player. I know, like, most of us here, well, actually, I think maybe Connor and me, maybe not Mike, but we prefer single player overall over multiplayer. But even with that being the case, I feel like my most played games are multiplayer just due to the nature of the beast.
I think if I had some friends who were ready to go the distance with me in Rocket League, I would have a billion hours in that game.
Yeah.
But because I wanted to get sweaty at Rocket League, and I just couldn't really find people to do it with me.
Every time I feel the allure to get sweaty, I
every
pause
time.
and I remember, like, this is it. Like, if I do this, I'm not gonna really play anything else, and that always turns me off.
See, that's fine by me, because I really liked Rocket League. Like, the reason I have hundreds of hours in it is because in college, something I liked to do was just put on music and play Rocket League, and that was just how I, like, rested my brain, kinda. Like, I wasn't doing anything. That was just background noise, both of them. You know, I was practicing and also just jamming out. One thing I did notice, I'm looking at my list right here. Battlefield 3, I have 94 hours and 24 minutes. Battlefield 4, I have 94 hours and 29 minutes. I played Battlefield for 5 minutes longer than I played Battlefield 3.
That's amazingly consistent. You knew what you wanted out of that.
And what's really funny is, like, all of my fond memories are Battlefield 3. I don't remember liking Battlefield 4 that much.
Well,
sneaks up on you.
Battlefield 4 was, like, the really good one, though, right? Like,
yeah, but I didn't have my buddy Antonio that I played Battlefield 3 with all the time. He started working at Taco Bell around when 4 came out. I think he actually bought me that game on the condition that I play it with him all the time, because I didn't have a job or any money at the time. And thanks, shout out to Antonio. But he never had time to play, so, like, I ended up playing it alone sometimes, and it just wasn't as fun. I think the map design was worse in it, in my opinion. And eventually they added the Battlefield 3 maps to Battlefield 4, and I remember liking that a lot. But that was just kind of in an era where EA was doing a bunch of weird stuff, like you had to use, like, the battle browser and stuff. Like, it was just such a pain to even get into a game that I remember being really annoyed with it.
Yeah.
Like, you had to use a web browser on PC to get into a game of Battlefield 4. I think 3 had the same problem. It just bothered me less because I was younger.
Yeah, 3 used the same system.
Yeah, it's been patched out of 4 now. And Battlefield 4, I think, is still one of the most popular Battlefield games. So, like, I am wrong.
A really good game.
Yeah, but
like,
I don't remember liking it as much. But it is hilarious that I played them both for 94 and a half hours.
But yeah, if we're kind of, like, talking about single player games right now, I think I have so much I want to say about single player games, because it used to be that, like, I'd look at a game like Skyrim and be like, oh my god, it's 200 hours. This game's incredible.
Yeah, I have 130 hours in Skyrim and I didn't like it that much. Like, it's wild to me. Like, I see a bunch of single player games high on this list that are like Subnautica, 60 hours. You've heard me rant about Subnautica. I don't like that game that much. Like, why did I play it for 60 hours? It's not multiplayer. I have no excuse.
What I will say is that, like, by and large, I think a lot of long games are longer than they need to be.
Yes.
But some long games hit so right. And it's rare for that to happen, but when that does happen, it's an unforgettable experience.
You have an example you're thinking of?
The main one I can think of is Persona 4 Golden.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, so same with 5, yeah.
When I played Persona 4 Golden, I had no idea what I was in for. It was my first Persona game. I played it on Vita, and I remember being in college, and I was just like, okay, I'll check this out. I remember just being shut in my room playing my Vita for dozens of hours. Like it was one of those rare games that like I played it and it took over my life, and I was just like, it's one of those things where like I'm so glad when that happens because it reminds me the sort of joy video games can bring to me, and that spark hasn't really gone out.
Yeah,
it's like
JRPGs can do it though, because the game I was thinking of,
yeah.
I have 60 hours in Dragon Quest XI, and I like not a moment wasted. I loved that game.
Yeah,
like
and.
Just brilliant.
I was just going to say the same something very similar about Persona 5, but I do feel that Persona 5 did outstay its welcome by a little bit. I think if it was maybe 10 to 20 hours shorter, it would have been perfect. But like I remember by the end of Persona 5, I was just like, okay, this is just getting way too much.
See, I never finished it. I have Persona 5 Royal sitting on my PC now because they did the PC port.
Yeah, and I my curiosity will get the better of me one day, and I will play Persona 5 Royal, but like
the idea,
Persona 5 Royal is an even longer game, which is like crazy, yeah.
The idea of mounting that again, it's scary.
Like, and I don't know if it's just because Persona 4 is my first Persona game, but that game, not once did I feel like it was too long. And it was like, 80 hours to play through. And that's a massive game.
Huge,
and by the end of it, I was sad that it was over. Like it was kind of crazy that like a massive game like that I could play and be like, "Yep, this is perfectly paced and like needs to be this long." And I kind of wish it was longer, right? Like,
yeah,
it's rare for that to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking. I feel like there's two categories of single player game because it's like insane that games like Dragon Quest and Persona have a story that lasts 60 to 80 hours or whatever.
That really is that like JRPG special sauce.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of Western games do that. The Western game philosophy, from what I've seen in a lot of RPGs and like similar lengthy single player games, is that like there's a focused maybe 15 to 20 hour experience in there that can be extended, 4 or 5x by myriad side activities that are completely optional, which I like that model too. But like I am definitely more impressed by the games that are like, this is 100 hours long. And it's just that long.
Yeah.
It's not that we're like adding in optional content. This is the game. And that is very impressive to me.
And then there's also like Dark Souls took me 60 hours to beat. I think Dark Souls 3, similar. Elden Ring, I have 90 hours in.
I think Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 each took me 40 plus hours.
Yeah, it took me a few tries to beat the first Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3, I think I played twice and I have 73 hours in it. But what I was going to say is that there's a whole other classic game, which is like Kerbal Space Program. No story, just a sandbox, no multiplayer, just a sandbox that I very happily sat in for 160 hours. And, probably got nothing done for the first 20 or 30 of them because that game is very hard. Same with Factorio. It has multiplayer, but as I've said on the podcast before, I don't really like multiplayer Factorio that much. I like it single player more. And I have almost 200 hours.
Different, but that's how I kind of see Civilization. Civilization has multiplayer, but
you
better believe those 1,000 plus hours were just me playing single player most of the time.
Stardew Valley. I have one. So like a lot of people start over in Stardew Valley a lot and stuff like that. I have one save file in Stardew Valley. I've not played a second of multiplayer, and I have 100 hours in that game. And that one's crazy because that's a game made by one dude, and I got 100 hours out of it.
That is really impressive.
I liked all of them. I love that game.
But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I think it is interesting to think of examples of really long games that you felt weren't too long. Because, like, games, like most games, I could argue, like Skyrim, I liked it a lot. I know we hashed this out a couple episodes ago, but I liked it a lot. But yes, I agree, it was too big, right? Same with Witcher 3.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Although
my beef with Skyrim is not that it's too long. I didn't like it that much. I don't know why I played it so long. Like,
it's not that it's too long. Skyrim,
I feel like you can play for a pretty short amount of time and get like the main story and have a good time.
Yeah. You can beat it in like 15 to 20 hours.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like,
it's too.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be as big as it was.
Now, Assassin's Creed 3 does not need to be as big as it was.
Assassin's Creed. I really liked Black Flag, but literally every Assassin's Creed after that could have been like halved or even like quartered. Like,
yeah. Black Flag is the exception because there was just no good pirate games.
if when you get to Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, it just becomes ridiculous. It's like,
Yeah.
how is there this much game? And like,
No,
it's just,
I
it
kind of
spreads
want to
so
play
thin.
one of the
Yeah.
like one of the new Assassin's Creed games, but like the idea of like diving into that, I don't know.
It's overwhelming, especially because like, and I know you're not like this, Connor. I don't know about Mike, but like when I play a game, I always go into a game with the intention of like doing everything.
Oh yeah.
That almost never does that end up happening, but like I sit down with being like, yes, I'm going to see everything in this game. And when it comes to a game like Valhalla or like Odyssey, that almost becomes daunting to the point of like I don't even want to play this anymore because I know I can't see everything.
Yeah. No, I definitely am somebody who like if Skyrim came out tomorrow, there's a good chance I would buy it, play the main story and be done. Like, and that's blasphemy to a lot of people, but that's just what I do a lot of the time. Dragon Quest 11, I was talking about how much I love it earlier. I did not do any like side quests in that game. I just didn't bother. Unless it was like
I don't
easier
know, like,
EXP than grinding.
for me, it's just that like curiosity of like what might be there.
Yeah.
You know, and oftentimes the answer isn't as exciting as I want it to be, right? Like there are a lot of like rote kind of side quests, but every now and then a game comes out where like the exploration and the extra attention to like things that aren't the critical path are rewarded. And I guess I do it for those things.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think I've just been burned too many times by like sloppy writing and just like lazy. Not lazy. I don't want to say lazy, but just like unfulfilling side content that is just kind of padding that I just don't. If I think it's side content, I don't bother with it typically. But then there are games like any roguelike that I fall for where I suck the marrow out of them. I want to do every challenge run. I want to do everything that they have to offer. I want to get every possible victory, everything. So
yeah, I've fallen victim to pouring lots of time into roguelikes. I think Slay the Spire especially really got me. Like I was just laying in bed playing my Switch for hours and hours on end.
I never got into Slay the Spire. I'm probably going to try it again sometime, but I bounced off it pretty quickly because I'm not good at card games or strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really play card games either, but Slay the Spire really sort of grabbed me. I don't know, it really clicked with me, and it just... Out of all of the roguelikes I've played, the amount of, like... And I guess, granted, it is a card game, right? But, like, the amount of depth and, like, strategies that can go into your runs are just, like... They're mind-boggling to me.
So I was looking through my list here, and this isn't super related, but it is hilarious to me. I have 38 hours in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Which
that doesn't surprise me too much.
Something like 10%, somewhere between 10 and 20% of that is probably load times. But that's a lot. That's a lot of time for, like, just flying a plane around, like, from someone who has no interest in being a pilot.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like for simulator type games, it's either like you put very few hours into it because, like, you know, like, you don't really, like, if you're not really that into it, you're not going to play it, right? I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you either put like a few minutes into it or like a few dozen hours.
Me and my buddy Antonio, who I mentioned earlier, my dad had a copy of Flight Simulator 98, I think, and I installed that on my computer when we were in, like, elementary or middle school, and we would spend, like, hours and hours and hours, probably no less than 40 hours, probably closer to 100 total, just flying planes in Flight Simulator 98 because we thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, as children, just vibing.
But yeah, so I will say, like, in terms of like my ideal length, yes, I can appreciate like the really long games who managed to like hook me for the entire duration. But if I were forced to pick, right, like, and maybe this is nostalgia talking, but like the tight, I want to say 8 to 20 hour, and I know that's a pretty big range.
I was going to say 12 to
16
because I think Uncharted is who nails it. Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking about. Like, an Uncharted is like the perfect length of the game to me because
Yeah.
it's like not quite short enough to be like, okay, this was just like basically a movie, but it's not quite long enough to be like, this is overstaying its
it
welcome.
doesn't leave me wanting, but it also Like,
it's satisfying.
Yeah,
it's like it's like a good meal. Like
it's like the length of a season.
It doesn't
of TV,
overstuff
kind of.
you. It doesn't leave you a little hungry. It's just right.
So I was actually thinking about this recently. I'm not going to spoil anything, but The Last of Us TV series wrapped up 2 days ago.
Yes.
Well, the first season wrapped up, and the TV series was shorter than the game, like by a good bit. And for most of it, I thought that was a good thing, but that I actually was left wanting a little bit. I wanted a little more. I don't know. I felt like at the end we didn't have enough time to sit on some stuff, and the game kind of beats it out on that lengthwise.
It was a little quick. I especially in the back half, I feel like it really kind of put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, a lot happened in very little time.
But yeah, like I think Naughty Dog in general is just very good at pacing. And I know that some people will disagree on that regarding The Last of Us Part 2, because that is by far their longest game. Like it's around 30 hours.
Wow.
Which can you believe that, right? Like this is not a game with like optional side content. This is a linear
I had no idea it was that long. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's a huge game. And that's why, like, if, still talking about the show here, Craig and Neil said that, part 2 is going to be adapted across multiple seasons just because it's too big.
Really? Okay.
But,
it's for the best.
But yeah. I think, so Naughty Dog really nails their pacing. Like, I hope they never really shy away from their, like, tight kind of, like, action adventure 8 to 20 hour experiences. I know part 2 was an exception, but I do think Naughty Dog thrives in that space. Some of Sony's other studios, like with the exception of Naughty Dog, they really sort of adopted that like 20-hour main story, but 40-hour to do everything kind of game. Like God of War is like that.
Yeah, and I think that's great.
God of War Ragnarok is like that. Horizon Zero Dawn is like that. Forbidden West is sort of like that, but like instead of 40, I would say it's probably like 80 hours to do everything. But like, I think that sort of style of single player game does a good job of being like, okay, no matter what camp you fall into, if you fall into the Connor camp, you can play it, get a really good story out of it, and get out. If you fall into the Ahmed camp, you could soak in that world for as long as you want to, get the story, and get out. So it does sort of strike a good balance there of catering to both groups, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with you strongly. I'm just thinking about my opinion a little bit, and I think I just really hate when I feel like my time is wasted, I think.
Yeah.
Like, Subnautica, I was having a really good time until I got to the end of the game and had 2 different, like, hour-long fetch quests I had to do. And, like, it just felt like padding feels really bad to me. And I feel that way about video games and movies both. Because I have been, I think in private, I don't think I've mentioned it on the podcast, but, like, every movie I've gone to in the past couple of years, I've walked out of complaining about how long they are. Like, I just feel like they waste so much time because they refuse to take anything out of these things. And games are often just as bad.
I thought for sure you were about to rant about Xenoblade again.
No, I'm not even going to rant about Xenoblade because I don't know how long it is. I know it's too long, but I have no idea.
It's extraordinarily long.
I will say, Xenoblade, interestingly, usually I feel like the padding is in the middle. Xenoblade, once I got past the beginning, I did not feel like it was doing... I hate Xenoblade for making me play 20 hours before I got to the good part of the game. Once I got to the good part of the game, I didn't feel like my time was being wasted anymore. It front loads all of wasting your time, which is a terrible design decision.
A choice, right? Like how you, I don't know, like how do you get new people into it?
Yeah, no, horrible design decision. Insane, but whatever. Dragon Quest isn't much better. The story in Dragon Quest is just good enough that I didn't mind. Like the combat takes forever to get interesting in Dragon Quest, but that's okay because the rest of the game is so good I didn't mind.
Yeah, and like in terms of like single player preferences, I do think I fall into like there's 2 time brackets. One is like the action venture single player like narrative focused games that are 8 to 20 hours. But then the other are like the RPG/action RPG games. Like here I'm talking about like Dark Souls or Mass Effect or something like that are definitely over that time limit, but I still appreciate basically every minute I have with those games.
Yeah, I'm looking at my 30 hours in Final Fantasy 15 right now, and like that hit. Every moment of that game hit. I love Final Fantasy 15. I've been thinking about doing another playthrough recently because I liked it so much. And
if you're like a traditional RPG, like or a JRPG, like chances are like I'm gonna like the long playtime.
I'm gonna like the long playtime unless I have a single second of grinding. I hate grinding.
I also dislike grinding. I never do it, by the way. Like I always try, like even if I hit a wall, I try to like brute force my way over the wall.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to shout out one thing. So like, I absolutely appreciate the shorter games too, right? Like I don't think so. I guess what I'm getting at is like I don't think the length of a game is in any way, shape, or form an indicator of quality.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
like
I'm with you. Yeah.
Journey is one of my favorite games of all time, and I played it for like an hour and a half. Right?
Yeah.
Like
I love Gone Home and Beginner's Guide.
Gone Home.
Those are both like 2-hour games. I really love. There's like a special place for me for a game that is the length of a movie, like a game that I can sit down with a friend or a partner and
in one
like
session,
share this medium that I love with someone that isn't really a part of it as much.
I got to do that with Journey with a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I am very grateful for that.
I do that with a Beginner's Guide a lot because that's a very meta game that like has a lot to say about video games and their creators.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love a 2-hour
But
game.
like,
I feel bad when I pay $20 for one, maybe, but I don't know. I do love them.
I think like it just and it's kind of interesting to think about too. Like, could you imagine a 2-hour AAA game like that? Just doesn't exist anymore, right?
Well,
like,
I want to say
I feel like all of the shorter games are all indie games, but like I don't think it has to be that way. I don't know. Like I feel like I would buy it. I don't know if the public at large would accept like a $40 AAA game that was only like an hour long, but it was like an immaculate, unforgettable hour that you know.
I think I would buy it and you would buy it and we would love it. But it would be
like,
it'd be avant-garde
there is
to
something,
release a game that short.
Exactly. There is stigma, like a stigma to too short of a game.
Oh, for sure. I want to tell you how scared I was from the developer side. We were near the finish line on Per Spectrum, and our publisher calls me up. A good friend of mine, not like a big publisher, you know, but he calls me up and he says, "Hey, one of our playtesters beat the game in an hour and a half."
Yeah,
and I'm like sweating at this point because like I think we charged $15 at launch or something.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a discussion you can't really get away from, right?
No.
Like in an ideal world, right, where you didn't have to think about money.
No, and I
then,
had
like,
to.
sure,
yeah, I had
but
to.
Like there is dollar value assigned to your minutes and hours. So
yeah, I had to come up with a way. I had like a month until release at this point or something. I had to come up with a way to increase that playtime, and I kind of found a way. I essentially included a second quest in it that roughly doubles the playtime without me having to do any level design, really. I just kind of included new puzzles in the old levels, and I don't hate my solution. Like, I actually think it worked out pretty well, and it's harder than the base game, but it's definitely one of those things that's a little... It's like something that is tedious that you would do because you love the game, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So, and that just felt weird, but I felt like I had to do it because I didn't want to, and then we had to come up, we had to, at the last second, come up with a second ending to, so that we could have a good and a bad ending based on how much of the game you finished. And that isn't amazing, I don't think, but.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah.
I feel like, you know, your experience was largely a very indie experience, but it is a kind of microcosm of what happens on larger scales, where, like, I'm sure publishers come to developers and are like, this game is too short,
Yeah.
and you have to make it longer somehow, or we can't sell it.
Yeah, because
So-
I used to literally sit down. It's a calculation I've done a million times with Terraria, because I got Terraria for $2.50 and then played it for 500 hours. But, like,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
sit down and I would, like, say, like, hey, how many hours per dollar of gameplay did I get out of this game? And
Yeah, and I do think, like, I can't say that's not valid, right? Like, if you're really sort of watching what you buy, like, it really matters, like, how much you get out of it. It's just, I guess it comes down to the individual whether like the experience or the actual amount of time matters more, and I don't think there is a right answer there.
No, it's just lifestyle. Like, I mean, Fortnite blows that entire equation out. Like, Fortnite's free, and Fortnite is one of my favorite multiplayer games to sit down and play because it's just always changing and everything.
I mean, as long as we're talking about insane deals in gaming, wasn't Hollow Knight like $15 or something?
It was, yeah, and it's a long, like, it's like, what, 30 hours long or something?
Oh, I thought it was longer than that. Like, at least, I was going to say 40, 50.
I'm going to look at what I have in it. I can't find it.
But even like, let's take the lower bound of that, even 30 hours.
I have 50 hours in it, yeah. Damn.
Yeah, like, you are asking, and it's not just like, 50 hours of nothing, right?
No,
this
it's
is
50
one of the
hours
best games
of like
ever
good
made.
the whole time.
Like, this is one of the not just good in my opinion, of course. This is one of the best games ever made.
Yeah,
and you're paying $15 for it. It's just that was mind-boggling.
And largely revitalizing the Metroidvania genre. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Metroid came back after Hollow Knight. I don't know if those two things are related, but it's definitely true. It
is true. Yeah, that is a true statement. Yeah, Hollow Knight was but very rarely you see that kind of like low price and long game combination.
Yeah. No, the craziest one for me, they're probably Terraria and Minecraft, because I bought Minecraft when it was still $10 in alpha. It was 10 or 15. I think it went to 15 in beta. So, and I bought alpha, so I think it was 10. I'm not going to fact check that. It's $5.
Yeah, Minecraft is definitely one of those things too, where like I paid for the beta, which was it $10? Was it 20? It might have been.
The beta was at least 15. I bought an alpha.
Okay. Yeah, so I bought it. I can't remember if it was alpha or beta. I think we were seniors in high school. So whenever that, someone can do the math there, but like we bought into Minecraft early access and it was over, right? Like that was another one of those things where like a community formed around that. Like after school every day, my high school friends and I would log into Minecraft and build stuff, and like it was a grand old time. And that was before like all the fancy updates and everything. So it was just a very, very basic version of Minecraft, but it was still just something incredibly special.
Yeah. It was $10 alpha, $15 beta, and then I think $20 at release. Maybe 25.
So I think we paid $15.
Yeah. So I actually bought right before. I bought pretty well into alpha because I was in middle school, I think. So I bought well before you. Yeah, I have insurmountable. I mean, Minecraft is one of those games. It's right up there with MMOs as like Minecraft. I remember Minecraft almost the same way I remember the house I grew up in. I spent so much time playing that game, and like I remember the people because I like found a Minecraft server with people I didn't know because not that many friends had PCs or anything to play on, and like I ended up getting a couple people I knew from school to join this server, and like I don't know, I just remember that was what I did after school every day. I would get on the server, I would talk to my friends, some of whom were adults, some were kids my age, you know. It was actually serious kudos to the adults on that server for making it a safe space, knowing how old some of us were.
Yeah, I mean, games are unique in that way that they're like a kind of age equalizer. Like,
yeah. No, I remember so my birthday is Christmas Eve, and I was like 13 years old, I think, and I was playing Minecraft, and I found out that me and a guy on my Minecraft server were had the same birthday, and I found that out because we were both spending our birthday. I was wrapping presents for my parents, and he was wrapping presents for his kids, and we were both on our server talking to each other.
It's an gaming is an equalizer.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think that's really cool. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
It does feel like now that I'm entering my late 20s that I am now the older person in the group.
Yeah, and I'm not always cool about it. I'm not always as cool as those people were. So,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I was gonna say, like, I almost feel like our age group is not as equipped to have kids as like that age group.
Well, yeah, I think
just in general, I feel like, you know, people are having less and less kids is, I guess, where I was going with that. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really thought about this before, but there's like a bell curve of like weird, like when I was 22 or 23, it was really weird if I was playing video games with someone in high school. But as I get towards like 28 or something, it's cool that I'm tolerating them. Like,
Yeah, and now it's just like, oh, you just know people that are younger than you.
yeah, it's just like hey, you're
I
cool
think-
for letting these people have a safe space to hang out. Like,
it is, it's
Thinking
something
like
unique.
my older time now, like most of the people I know online are younger.
yeah, that's not true
It
for
i-
me. Yeah.
It is something unique to video games because, like, I remember this brought back a memory that I completely forgot about. Like, and actually, it wasn't that long ago. We were playing Destiny 2 back when the clan was still active in Destiny, and we were doing a raid, and we had 5 people, and we needed a 6th, and so we got a random for the 6th, and the 6th ended up being this kid, right? Like, he was very clearly a kid, very squeaky voice. His voice hadn't even dropped yet. But this kid was better than all of us put together. And this kid basically led us through this raid. And it was just such a weird experience.
That's
we were all
awesome.
just taking orders from this like 11-year-old.
You probably made that kid's day too.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Because I was that a few times in like Mabinogi and Maple Story, where I kind of deduced that I was the youngest person there and felt like a legend for just knowing the game and being a
Yeah.
higher level. Or
I mean, that's another beautiful thing about games, right? Like, yeah, as you get older, you get like life experience or whatever. But like with video games, like an 11-year-old probably has better reflexes and has probably put way more time into it than you have because they have more time to put in. So yes, of course they're the expert, right? Like it's not crazy to think about.
I have faced the shame. This happened when Smash Bros. Became portable. I think when it came out on 3DS and no, I think it was worse when it came to Switch. Because I discovered that my little brother had been playing Super Smash Bros. At lunch every day. And, like, no, I could not keep up with him anymore. There was no way. He had so much practice. He just stomped me. Because I was in college, you know. I didn't have the time for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of course, now I can stomp him because he's in college and I have the time.
You could have played it at lunch every day, Connor.
I could have. And
you could have just done that.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't have had my job or my grades or my
Exactly.
per spectrum. You know.
But you could have been good at
I could have been good at Smash instead, though. You're right.
For a brief period of time.
For a brief period of time, you could have reached.
I could have extended my moment in the sun.
Man.
I love video games.
Video games are
pretty cool, even long ones and short ones.
Yeah.
Games of all length. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think game length, at the end of the day, that's the topic.
It definitely doesn't.
I don't
measure
think it
quality.
matters to me as much as it used to, for sure.
I do. There are games that I don't play because I know they're so long, though. Like Persona 5, I've been wanting to start over and play it, but I know that it's 80 hours long.
Yeah. Well, you've got Royal, so bump that up by like 30 at least, I would say.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for a rainy day. Like I'm waiting to be miserable, basically, because I think that game could drag me out of it.
Honestly, same. Like Persona 4 Golden absolutely cured my depression.
Waiting for somebody to break my heart or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait for tragedy, and then Persona is going to be the perfect game. Man. All that said, though, Persona 6. That is a day one, potentially take like time off work kind of game.
Oh yeah, I probably would too. Yeah, because it's totally different. The game length doesn't, like Elden Ring would intimidate me now, and the same with Sekiro does. Like that's a long game that I'm not ready to start yet. But when it comes out and everybody's doing it, that doesn't bother me at all. Like
Sekiro might not be as long as you think it is, by the way.
Maybe, but I take a long time to get good sometimes. Like, there's a reason I have 60 hours in Dark Souls. I don't always come to terms with things quickly.
Man, now you got me thinking about Persona.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done talking about this? Are we good to move on?
I feel good to move on.
Yeah, I feel good.
All right, so let's talk about what we're playing. And I think Connor and I have some overlap here, so do we want to start with that?
Yeah, let's go Wolong. Yeah.
Wolong,
Fallen Dynasty.
Yep. That. So Wolong Fallen Dynasty, I think I might have a little bit of a unique perspective on this, Connor, because you didn't play Neo, did you?
No, this game this game has been a really weird experience for me because I don't know anything about the developer. I haven't played their history. I went in knowing that they kind of do Souls-like stuff, and that was it. And I like got an immediate impression that it was trying to do Sekiro, kinda. But I haven't played Sekiro.
The way I describe this game is that it is halfway between Neo and Sekiro.
Okay.
So it doesn't do Sekiro as well as Sekiro, and it doesn't do Neo as well as Neo. So it kind of just takes elements from both, but maybe is a little weaker for it. But
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like I still think that Team Ninja, they do combat really, really well. I think the combat is quite good in this game. Yeah,
it feels good, but
there are just some weird choices where I'm like, why is dodge the same as deflect? Right, like that just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe as someone who played Sekiro first, but like
the thing that's really weird to me is the difficulty curve of this game. I have not had trouble.
First question: how far are you?
Not terribly far. I'm in the luscious mountainous area. I just got attacked by some people that then became friendly to me.
Man, you are
Am I early?
helping me out here. I don't know. Like, so what was the last boss you fought? Let's put it that way.
I don't even remember. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh man. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a bit because I wanted to talk to you about it. I'm not super far, but I want to talk about the difficulty curve early on because that's what's felt weird. I haven't run into a single like enemy that's given me trouble. There are like some like mini boss level enemies that gave me a little trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But the first boss was hard for me. Like, I forget his name, but he's just a dude.
I know who you're talking about.
And he was hard. It took me a while to beat him until I
saw this. Yeah, I saw this sentiment online.
I didn't know how to heal. I learned how to heal and I beat him first try. I didn't know the game had a heal mechanic. I missed that.
You didn't have your Estus Flask?
I had no idea that was in the game. And I spent
so funny.
an hour fighting this guy. Once I knew that I could heal, I've like not died in this game. It's insanely easy. Like,
so that's really funny to me, first of all. And second of all, where I thought you were going with that is that the first boss really is a sort of like check on
it is a check, and mechanics. I did not pass the check because I didn't know all the mechanics of the game. But
for most people, like, I don't think the healing would have been the problem. I would have thought like maybe the deflecting or something.
Well, I think I got insanely good because I didn't know you could heal. Like, I think I got good because I thought I had to beat him with just my health pool.
That's so funny.
I was to the point that I could get most of the way through the second phase without taking a single hit.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So like I did see that people had trouble with the first boss. I actually did not. So like the first boss, it took a few tries, but it was nothing like Souls level difficult to me.
No.
And as far as the difficulty in this game goes, I tend to agree, Connor. Like, I am playing this game in a manner to like make it slightly more difficult for myself, and by that I mean I'm dismissing my companions at the start of every level.
I'm not even doing that because they don't seem that helpful.
Yeah, so I just didn't like the idea of like them taking aggro and stuff.
See, so I'm leaving them in the game for the same reason that you like played through Mario Odyssey as base costume Mario. Like,
right,
it is canon to me that they're there, so I'm leaving.
It is weird, right? Because when I'm playing the levels by myself and I get to a boss, my buddy then shows back up for the cutscene that disappears after the cutscene. So it's weird in that sense. But I don't play these games for the story.
No,
so like,
well, it's also the story's bad. So
zero sense. Yeah. It's like Kingdom Hearts levels of like,
it's worse
nonsense.
than Kingdom Hearts, I feel like.
But you know, like, it is rooted in like Chinese history, but it just takes like a fantastical spin on it. So I guess maybe if you're familiar with Chinese, like,
there's some stuff like
states.
The opening cutscene, I felt like they were like almost referencing like the rape of Nanking, and I was like sitting there like, oh man, I don't know if I'm culturally educated enough to enjoy the story of this game.
Oh yeah, no, just like pog out at the demon battles. Yeah, fine. But so like the story's a lot of nonsense, and Neo's kind of like that too. Like, I don't know what the heck's happening in the story of Neo, but like Neo, to sing Neo's praises for a minute, especially Neo 2, I think is probably the best Souls like ever made, and certainly has the best combat.
The best non-Souls like, or the best Souls like.
So when I say Souls like, I'm excluding Dark Souls games.
Okay.
I'm excluding From games.
Okay.
So
that was my question. Yeah.
The best non from Souls like, I would say, is Neo 2.
Yeah.
And I think Nioh 2 has the best combat out of all Souls-likes, including From Software games.
Wow.
So Nioh 2 has exceptional combat that has exceptional depth, right? Like, so you have your various weapons in Nioh 2. Each of those weapons has 3 stances. You can learn various combos in each of those stances. Each weapon has a tree. You have your own skills. You have magic. It's insane. The combat in Nioh 2 is insane.
So there's some of that
And
in
you get
Wolong.
you get elements of that in Wolong, but
And
it definitely
it feels so
is,
muddied. Like, I don't need it.
It is watered down from Nioh, and I think it's like one of those things where, like, if you were going to water it down, just make it focused like Sekiro, or just go all in like Nioh 2, but don't go like halfway, because then it just feels unfocused.
I agree. The game feels wrong every time I switch off of like the sword. Like, I feel like I've left the golden path a little bit.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that so much. I do think some of the weapons, aside from like the basic sword, are pretty neat to use. But like, there's not all that much depth to these weapons. You just have to get used to like the cadence of the swings and stuff.
Yeah,
but there's no like combos
mashy
to learn or anything like that. Yeah, there's no combos to learn. But like currently, I'm using dual swords and then a giant spear.
I enjoyed dual swords
as
for
a secondary weapon.
Yeah,
and I don't know, like, I do think I know this sounds more negative than positive. I do think the combat is good. I think even like I said, it's like
it feels good.
It's kind of like a middle ground between Nioh 2 and Sekiro. Make no mistake, right? Like, Team Ninja knows how to do combat. Like, the combat in this game is good. It's just not as good as it could have been, I think.
Yeah.
Especially coming from the team who made Nioh 2. So like, but yeah, so like my focus, like I have a lot pumped into like Earth, and we can talk about the element system too, which is just kind of like confusing. I don't know. It
yeah,
really
the level up
be,
system
like,
in this
the way it
game,
is.
I would have removed this is a game I'd remove the level up system from because it feels weird. Like, it just feels confusing, and
like
it kind
you
of
definitely can build your character in different ways, right? Like if you spec into water or whatever, you can get better at spells and you can do like a mage build. But I don't understand like who would want to do a mage build. In this game. Like, it's definitely parry focused combat.
I agree.
Like
it feels like I should level up and like get a little HP, get a little stronger. Like, I shouldn't have to allocate those points.
Yeah, and that's, Sekiro did that quite well, right? Like Sekiro, it stripped out, in many senses, it was the anti-From Software game, because it stripped out all of the RPG mechanics and the build variety, and it was just like, this is the one way you play this game, right? And you're...
Yeah.
So
Wolong has really made me want to go play Sekiro, which I have not done yet.
I think you would love Sekiro.
Yeah,
like
I think so
it is
too.
very
yeah.
good. But yeah, and by no means is Wolong a bad game. It is still a good game. If you enjoy Nioh 2, you will enjoy this game.
I agree, especially if you have Game Pass. It's worth the download. Like, it's on Game Pass. It's pretty fun. Like, I played it. Like, I don't know. I had other stuff I could have been doing, and I played it instead. I enjoyed it. So
yeah, but I do want to lead to one point here, and that is, it has. I don't know how far I am into this game. I would guess maybe halfway. And a lot of the bosses were cakewalks, right? Like, some of them first try, others like, 3, 4, 5 tries and they're down. I did encounter one boss that I was just like, this is a From Software caliber boss.
Oh yeah.
And it reminded me of, Melania in Elden Ring. It reminded me of Ishin in
It's high praise.
Sekiro. I was just like, this is a real boss. And this is a gentleman by the name of Lu Bu. Have you fought Lu Bu yet?
I have not, no.
You would remember if you have.
No.
So, and it was cool because, like, at the beginning of this level, like, your companions and stuff in the cutscene, they're talking about this guy, right? And, like, as you kill enemies, they falter before you. Because, like, canonically in the game, you're like some sort of legendary warrior at this point. Like, you were just like a scrub, but like you've proven yourself on the battlefield and stuff. And they're like, we stand no chance, only Lu Bu can take him. So you keep hearing this name, Lu Bu, throughout the entire level. And then when you finally fight him, you're like, oh, the hype was completely warranted. Like, this guy is tough.
See, that's fun. That's like...
He's a real boss.
It's wild because that's good writing. Like, they clearly have good writing. Why didn't they make a good story for their video game?
Yeah. Yeah, but they that level they nailed it, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that sounds
and
like they nailed it.
Because it was framed as like an assault on like the enemy kind of like battleground as well. So you're fighting through this battleground. It's like epic, actually, right? Like, and to get to Lubu, you have to fight like a pretty tough boss. And actually, this leads me into the morale system, right? Which I think is very cool, actually.
Yes,
So like,
I agree.
The morale system, you essentially start each level at 0 morale. And as you conquer the battlefield, as it were, like slay strong enemies, claim territory, your morale goes up. And that's essentially like your level only for that sort of stage. So as your morale goes up, you become more capable and ready to fight the boss because your sort of level for that stage is going up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I got to like basically the area right before Lubu, it was interesting because there was a mini boss there whose morale was at 20. But at this point, like in the stage, my morale was only at 8. So he like one-shot me. And I was just like, oh no, this is not good. So I realized that like the level, you could just like fight that guy and then go on to fight Lubu. Or you could explore the level around you, like fight enemies, do your exploration, plant your flags, get your morale all the way up to like 19 or 20, then go back and sort of have an even fight with this dude. And that's what I ended up doing. So,
it was cool because
like I did. Yeah. So like, well, no, I mean like
I'm just
I
messing
think
with you because I know
it was
bother you.
the sort of intended way to do it,
Yeah.
right? Like otherwise it was just like beat this guy without getting hit. But, all that goes out the window when you fight Lubu, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're 20 morale. This guy will kill you over and over and over again until you finally best him. And granted, it didn't take me as many tries as, like, Melania or something. But at the end of that fight, I did say, like, wow, that was a boss fight.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to you getting there, Connor, if you revisit.
I probably will finish this game eventually.
That was a pretty exciting fight. And if there are more fights like that later on in the game,
because I feel like it's probably
my
not that long
opinion
a
of this game is going to probably like rise a lot. I agree. I don't think it's as long as like Neo 2, for example. So I do expect to be done maybe in like 5-6 more hours.
Yeah,
which isn't bad. And but yeah, I just wanted to highlight, man, that Lubu boss fight.
I want to see if you agree.
It was great. Yeah.
This game has like a weird aesthetic thing, I think, where like, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound like I'm calling the game ugly, and I'm not, because I actually think the visuals in this game are pretty good.
It's weird because like half the time I think it's ugly and half the times I think it's pretty.
It feels like a PS2 game. It's the level geometry, I think.
Actually, that's a pretty good way of putting it.
It really reminds me of how like PS2 era games looked, because like, I don't have a lot of memories of the PS2. I didn't have one until I was in high school. Like, the PS2 was long done by the time I got one. I think the PS4 was out. I might have been in college. But it reminds me of, like, Kingdom Hearts level design, or, like, maybe even, like, early Devil May Cry level design. Like, that's just what the geometry feels like to me. Or even, like, Phantasy Star. That was on GameCube, but same era. It really just feels like that for some reason, and I don't know. It feels very strange, and it just feels really gamey. They don't feel like real places at all.
Yes, I agree, but like that's definitely like an intentional choice, the gaminess of it, and I really like the gaminess of it.
Yeah,
because I think it really works, right? I like the fact that your morale resets between stages, and you sort of have to conquer new battlefields. It's a cool sort of like I don't know. It's a cool sort of like conquest.
It feels a little throwbacky, though, and I don't hate that. It feels kind of, I don't know. But sometimes it does, like, it's a little ugly, like you said.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, it definitely, I do feel like technically something isn't quite there, like, visually at least with this game, because, like Neo 2 had better art direction and looked better than this game, I think.
See, I don't have anything to compare it against, but I can say it runs, like, 100-ish FPS in 4K, so...
Yeah.
I got no complaints.
I just think, art direction wise, I know Team Ninja can do better. I've seen them do better.
Yeah.
But, again, I know it sounds like I'm crapping on this game a lot. It's only because I hold Team Ninja to a high standard. Like, Neo 2 are both, like, excellent, like, 9, 10 out of 10 caliber games. But Wolong isn't quite there. It is still very good, though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the parry mechanic mastered, You need to figure that out before you fight Lubu. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree with that.
All right. Michael, do you have anything for us?
I started playing another Minecraft mod pack.
What's this one called?
This one's Medieval Minecraft.
I haven't heard of this one.
It's in Fabric, which is a new modding API, so it's different. The mods are all different.
Does it run better?
Oh, it runs a lot better. It runs the server a lot better too.
That's good to hear.
I played the Forge version of the mod pack, but
do you run the server locally or do you rent one?
It's rented.
Okay, that's what I thought. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but there's no tech. It's more based around exploration and RPG mechanics, and it has an origin system, which is
interesting,
nifty, I guess. Like, I'm playing as a siren, so I can breathe underwater, and I move faster and heal underwater. So it's kind of made Minecraft play completely differently than I'm used to.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I've been itching to play a Minecraft mod pack lately. I don't know.
Plus, it's on the latest. It's on the Caves and Cliffs update.
Nice.
So I was in some big caverns.
Is 1.9? Oh, 1.19 is the second half of Caves and Cliffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on 1.19.
Nice. I don't even know what 1.20 is going to be yet.
I think they already announced it, right?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't keep up with it that much anymore. I've been off on Minecraft lately. I'm still paying for a realm though. I need to cancel that.
Yeah, Minecraft is definitely like one of those games where like I like to wait a long time, like
Yeah,
several
I want a lot
updates,
of
and
new
then just
stuff.
like
Yeah.
have Minecraft feel different when I log in with like all these new features.
That's
You can
kind
get
of
that
why
with
I
mod
like
packs,
playing
yeah.
on
I know. Yeah.
on a mod pack and also on Fabric, so it's none of the mods that I'm used to because they're entirely different mods.
I might have to check that out.
Minecraft really is it is the game of 1,000 faces. Like it
It
can
has a lot you can do.
Yeah.
I think that kind of benefits it more than it hinders it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like as you have demonstrated, like you could feasibly play like Minecraft for eternity, right? And never run out of things to play.
But yeah, it feels like a couple different games.
It's a different game every time. Like, this definitely doesn't feel like vanilla Minecraft anymore. Beyond the fact that I'm just running around digging, but even then...
an update or a mod pack on Caves and Cliffs. That's one of the reasons I haven't been able to play modded Minecraft lately, is because I don't think I could live without the improved caves. They're so good.
There's a lot of my mod packs that are moving.
Yeah,
up to
I think
Caves
Vault
and
Hunters
Cliffs. And Fabric's
is already
I think
on it.
Yeah, I think Fabric is the leading API for Caves and Cliffs. Because they do snapshot releases as well, so they're going to already have mods updated for the latest version. Which is absolutely nutty when you're used to Minecraft Forge and its glacial update pace. So it's a good time to get back into Minecraft mod packs because there's now competing APIs with each other.
Yeah.
One of these days I got to try a Minecraft mod pack.
They're fun. It's just I've done
They are
it
a
so
lot
many
of fun.
times. I've had a hard time getting back into it. It's one of those things where I start to do it and then it reminds me of something else that I like and I go do something else. Like I'll play a Minecraft mod pack, but then it'll be too complicated to set something up and I'm like, well, why am I not just playing Factorio? And then I'll go do that. If it sounds like that one won't have that problem though, because it's not the machinery stuff.
Yeah, there's no machinery. I'm just running around the world kind of crafting
I've never
as I go.
played a Minecraft mod pack that has Create in it. Like I've never played Create mod really at all.
I was just playing Enigmatica, which
I want
had
to try
that
it sometime.
and I never really needed to use it. Like, it's cool, but like all the other tech mods just do the same thing, and I know how to set those up. And I think it's unfortunate that there's a lot of tech mods that do the same thing that are all concluded in like one mod pack.
You ready to pass the ball?
Yeah, I'm ready to pass the ball.
I got a short one. I just want to give a shout out to it's a game preview on Xbox, but me and my buddy Tyler have been playing it. Tyler, who was on the last episode actually, or on a recent episode. I don't know what order we're uploading these in.
Last episode.
Yeah, but we've been playing a game called Roboquest lately, and it's pretty fun. It's like a little it's like a first-person shooter roguelike. You play as a big robot. The world building is fine. I think the art is gorgeous in it, the 2D art. The 3D art is pretty good. I have a hard time telling the enemies apart a little bit. But I think this game has legs. It's a fun co-op roguelike. It has fun guns. It definitely, like, it's one of those where, like, you never really know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get, like, pretty overpowered runs, or you get a gun that's overpowered for a while, but the enemies scale up enough that you can't stick with your overpowered gun forever, because eventually it's not good enough anymore. I really like it. We haven't gotten real far, but the boss fights are fun and varied. The levels are good. The art is good. I don't have a whole lot to say. I just like it. It's a fun game. I'm glad it's like it's in our rotation right now for go-to multiplayer game, and I'm having a good time with it.
Nice. Yeah, one of these days I gotta hop on Xbox with you and Tyler. I feel like that'd be a fun sort of
It is. We're fun guys.
Group. Yeah.
We hop on Discord. He's on his Xbox. I'm on PC. And we just play Game Pass games.
I think that's nifty now that those things that you can just be on Discord on any platform.
Oh, it's a game
got
changer.
integrated with PlayStation as well, so you can have people on Xbox, PlayStation, PC all playing together, talking to each other, which is
I just want to say I sing the praises of Game Pass a lot on here, but the fact that Game Pass isn't even a game provider to me anymore. It's an ability to hang with my friend's provider, because we can just hop on and look at what games have crossplay, and like at no entry cost, because we're already paying this monthly fee, we can hop into a game and have fun together. And that's amazing. That's so good.
That's pretty incredible. I never really thought of it in that context.
Yeah. And that's and I don't have to like the game because I didn't buy it. I don't have to like the game to play it for a couple hours.
Zero entry cost to get into these games, and I think that's where Game Pass really does well. Is that one of the big things about gaming, especially when you're older, is that you don't want to just get into a game you're gonna hate. You're just gonna waste money on it.
And it's all the time. Like, Tyler will be at work and he'll send me a text. It's like, hey, I saw this crossplay game on Game Pass, and it works better on Xbox. It doesn't work so well on PC, but he can like set it from his phone so that it installs. And I work from home, so I walk over to my PC and install it. And then when he gets off work, we have that game and we play it. And it's just a good system. Everything works.
The future.
Yeah. I don't know. That's not really. I guess that's the game I've been playing for the past few years. Like, I don't know. Got me through the pandemic for sure, or is continuing to get me through the pandemic. I don't like to talk like it's over. It's not really over, but
it's never over.
It'll never be over, yeah.
Next, we're going to hear about some cordyceps mutation, and then it'll be over.
Dude, I'll tell you, I'm saving my daughter. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
I'm just going to accept my new fungal overlords.
Your fungal overlords.
I'm going to be one with the fungus.
Unironically, there was a character in the show that was thought that way. He was also a pedophile, but...
Yeah, I'm not that, so we're good there.
True.
Many
people are saying this.
Many people are saying that they're not pedophiles.
Yeah, shout out, like this, we said it earlier, but shout out to the Last of Us HBO show. Like, they really, yes, there were pacing problems near the end, but overall, I think it was such a strong adaptation, and it really will sort of set a benchmark for the future.
Ashley Johnson, I have not played The Last of Us since I was like 14, 15 years old or whatever. I was in high school. She is
Ellie.
Yeah. No, when Ashley the moment Johnson, I heard her voice in that opening, I was like, oh my God, that's Ellie.
Yeah. Like, it's scary how alike an actor and a character are. Like, for Ellie, right? Like, Ashley Johnson is Ellie and Ellie is Ashley Johnson. And the fact that, she was the mother in the last episode, giving birth to Ellie, there were so many like parallels to be drawn there. Like, she was like sort of just metaphorically passing the torch to Bella Ramsey. It was a really neat scene.
It was a good scene. I'm glad they included it, even if the consequence of including it was that they kind of had to rush some other stuff. I'm glad it was there.
Yeah. It was a great scene.
I would have rather had another.
Actually,
I wish they'd added an episode, but
you know me, I'm a huge like Neil Druckmann fanboy, so I've been reading these interviews, and I did share this in the Discord, but I doubt anyone actually clicked on it.
I think I did.
But he said that like this concept for Anna, Ellie's mom, and her giving birth that way, that was originally going to be a game that would end with that scene.
Really? I did not read that.
That was going to be like a prequel to The Last of Us. And then that deal like sort of fell through. They never got to do that. Then he was going to make it in like an animated... No, he was going to make it like a comic or something. And then that fell through. And then they were going to do a live action short. And then that fell through. So then he's just sort of forgot about it. And now he found this opportunity to do it in this HBO show. So this story with Anna giving birth to Ellie has been in Neil's mind for years and years now. So it's just another kind of element of the world that was finally revealed when the HBO series came about. So
I have a funny thing to mention about no, never mind. I was about to spoil something. Never mind. I'm not going to spoil the end of the show for people who maybe haven't seen it or played the game.
Fair enough. Yeah. So the ending should be, if you have any interest in The Last of Us, go watch it. It's all out now, and
I would say even if you don't have interest in The Last of Us, you should give it at least a chance.
It's a very good show.
Good.
Yeah, like it's just a very good show. Like, and very excited for what season 2, what horrors season 2 will bring.
2 short years.
Yeah,
better than the 8 years you had to wait for the game.
That is true. Yeah. All right, I think that is going to do it for us this week. Thank you all for listening. You can follow us at @Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, or any other podcast services you use. Click the link in the description of the podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next time.